Welcome to the Social Podcast, where no discussion or debate is off limits.
Hello and welcome to the Social. Thank you for being here, you lovely audience. Thank you for watching at home. Journalist and speaker Farah Nasser is back again today. Welcome back. Nice to see you. Okay, we are starting with Hugh Grant, who told everyone on X that he doesn't remember making out with Real Housewife. What's her name?
Luann de Lesseps.
Luann de Lesseps.
Somebody's watching.
Sorry. Somebody knows a lot about the Real Housewives here. After she claimed that they got hot and heavy one night in the Hamptons. So this got us thinking, would you be offended if somebody couldn't remember a makeout session?
We have somebody who's not afraid to share her opinion. We love that. Like, no, I'd be very offended. Listen, there are two reasons why a person doesn't remember kissing you. Either they have kissed a lot of people, which in Hugh Grant's case, that could be possible.
I bet.
Or they want to delete you from their mental Rolodex and be as far away as possible. And just the way he answered, I think it's the latter. I think he just kind of doesn't want to own that he kissed her at a party. Perhaps he had a few libations and doesn't want to be like, yeah, I kissed her.
Well,
but that's what it sounds like.
This is a guy who owned up to being arrested when he...
Right, that's true, actually. Exactly, so he'll own the prostitute, but not Luann?
Well, that's why I think it's a combination of one thing. It's a combination of two things, like where he's just kissed a lot of people. He's lived a fulsome life. And maybe just like, it's a housewife, not quite too sure if I remember that. I think it's a combination of
Or you know what? He could have had a concussion because I had a concussion in January. I'm serious. No, let me tell you, I think there's people that I've kissed that I don't remember.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you blaming it on the concussion, though?
I'm blaming a lot of things on the concussion. When I meet someone and I don't recognize them, or I'm like, I had a concussion in January. That's
my
the accident.
goodness.
Anyway, no, but in real life, I feel like there are people that I don't remember.
Yeah, I have the same thing. Most makeout sessions I vividly remember. And I here's the thing. Can we just take a moment for the makeout session? Because I feel like it's a Thank you. And I think we don't realize how open and fun and freewheeling we were at one point in time. And then one day those days just die. So if you're in the throes of those days, appreciate them because they might die.
Like a very romantic notion from a woman who's been married a long time. Those moments, this is going to die.
I love them. I have a vivid memory of being at El Convento Rico here in Toronto, and I was having a spicy salsa session with a complete stranger. He didn't speak a lot of English.
Nice.
We had a little bit of a makeout session, and then at the end, he said to me, can I give you my number? And I was like, no. And I felt really, I was just like, that's it. This is good. This is very nice. And I will tell you that if I walked up, I could not pick out that guy in a lineup.
Oh my God.
But don't you also feel really embarrassed for Luann? Because clearly she told this story because she thought it was a humble brag with her friends. Like, oh my God, I made out with Hugh Grant. And I've actually seen this type of situation blow up in someone's face in real time, but I don't like to gossip unless you guys want to hear the story. Okay, so I'm on the red carpet. I was an entertainment reporter at the time. There's another very beautiful entertainment reporter, and she's bragging about having a relationship with an A-list star. Do you want to know his name? Gerard Butler. So she's like, yeah, Gerard and I got really close, and we're on the red carpet for a Gerard Butler movie, so he's going to arrive, right?
Oh, no,
So she's bragging, and we're all like, oh my gosh, we're kind of jealous, and then he arrives. His black SUV arrives, he stops, he gets out, he talks to the first reporter, the second reporter, and then like an express bus, he starts passing her by, right? So then she has a moment of desperation. She's like, Jerry. She calls him Jerry.
Oh my.
And this is all he gave her. He gave her like a, he gave her like a peace sign, like, And I think this was so embarrassing because she was clearly trying to impress us, and clearly he didn't want to own his little dalliance with her. And I think that's exactly what's happening to Luann. She was like bragging, and then he's kind of like, yeah, I think maybe I kissed her. I don't really know. I don't really want to talk about it.
I still think it's a badge of honor for Luann because she kissed Hugh. Yes, it's Hugh Grant.
No.
Have you guys seen Hugh Grant at all on this press tour? I can't even tell you the name of the movie he's doing, but which might not be very effective, but he has been a charm bomb. He has been so good.
He's fun.
I enjoy him so much. So if you want to kiss me and forget about it, I'm okay with that.
All right. Worth it.
Hashtag the memory's just for me.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of forgetting, a new study found, out of England rather, found that calorie counts on menus don't actually lead to people eating anything less. So are you surprised by this?
No, they're not surprised.
Interesting.
Are you? What do you think? Like, do you go to a restaurant? It's fancy night out. You're there with your friends. Do you notice?
So I pretend to care about this,
Okay.
and I'll tell you, I'm like looking, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have a salad, yeah, a little chicken breast, don't use too much oil. And then when we order appetizers, there's a bunch of us, I'm like, those calories don't count. Give me like the 500 nachos, guac, I'll take,
You guys,
bread and whatever.
I'm not being facetious here. I've seen the calorie counts on the menus, like the backlit ones at fast food places, and I ignore them. But where are the calorie counts?
They're on the menus.
They're
there.
Yeah. And they're high, too.
I've never seen them, and I resent the fact you're bringing it up to me.
I'll tell you what I've done. I have wanted something, gone to the restaurant, ready to order, see the calorie count, I go, wait a second, that's all my day's calorie, and I have left that restaurant. And I'll tell you why. I just signed up with a trainer a couple months ago. Shout out to Will, who works me hard. And I've been paying attention to like what I eat. And now I think more consciously about what I put in my mouth. Because first of all, I don't want to work any harder. I'm already at 10,000 steps and I can't do one more step. So I really think about what I'm eating. So when I see that number, I'm like, no, we're not doing that.
Fair, but who's going out to restaurants all the time where they have to think about calories? Like for me, when I go to get fast food, it's like I've planned
It's special.
for it.
Right.
I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing to my body. I know what I'm doing to my soul. And I have planned
using that.
Yes. Give me that.
Even if it's a full day's calories in one meal.
I've planned for it. It's called being an adult, Andrea.
Okay, but wait a minute. I feel like it has helped me be aware a little bit more. So like, for example, how much is in a drink? Like I was shocked when these numbers first started coming out.
Yes.
That you're like realizing that drink that you're getting from your favorite coffee place.
ridiculous.
The pina colada.
That one is a good example,
But I will say that apparently we are in the minority for those of us, not you, Jess, but who do sometimes notice. Apparently only one in five person actually factors this in to their dinner choices. So if this was introduced in several jurisdictions, I think London, England did it, the United States have done it, we've done it, and it doesn't seem to be working, right? So what is going on here?
It's just shaming you. It's shaming people.
Shaming you, so it's
No, I
working.
don't think it's shame. It's not shame. It's giving you the information because sometimes you
But
think
you're not
it's like,
making smarter choices.
But you're not even
Most
getting-
people are.
Yeah, but at least you have the information.
But you're not getting all the information. Calorie count is just part of it.
That's
What about
right.
the protein? What about the sodium, right? What about the grams of fat?
You for all this information. When you're going out to eat, you know that it's something special. Or at least when I do,
but
when I'm
listen,
going
when
to a
you
restaurant,
also-
I'm not like, oh, I'll have
Right.
the salad with
But
the salad
listen,
dressing
when
on
you
the
also
side.
have high blood pressure, if you have diabetes, you do have to pay attention to those things. High blood pressure
that
right
goes
here.
without saying.
But I think you're
I'm
right.
saying for the average person who doesn't have any health concerns and you
Right.
still
Why
want to
should it
take care of
bother
your
them?
body, you're not going to a restaurant once a week.
This
You're
was
thinking,
created in order as an effort because we do have an obesity problem in many parts of the world, right? So this was an attempt to sort of make people like more information, more knowledge, you'll make better choices. The thing is that it's not adding up that way. So the question remains, what is the better answer?
That is.
Well, you make your choice, right?
That's a great question.
I don't know what the answer to that
What
is.
is the better answer?
All I know is that I am not going for dinner with you two. You and
There you go.
honestly,
And we
think
won't
alike.
do it all the time.
No,
It's
we
a
won't.
special
But when we
time.
do, we're not going to look at the calories.
There we go.
We're going to enjoy the things we want.
There you
Get your
go.
steps in.
Yeah, we'll walk there.
All right, let's dive into our next topic. Billionaire Warren Buffett has one piece of advice for all the parents out there. Listen closely. Let your kids read your will before you sign it. Okay, all right. Well, Buffett wrote in a letter to shareholders that you don't want your children asking why when you can no longer explain. So, would you be willing to do this, ladies?
I would be willing to do this with my son.
Yeah.
We've been quite open even now talking about it. But I think that I'm glad my parents are starting to talk about this.
But they don't have a will. They
do have a will.
They do have a will.
I have a will, and I think that what I've heard nightmare stories about is kids who end up finding out afterwards that they didn't get the same amount as a sibling, for example. And maybe sometimes the justification was, well, we gave you money for a house beforehand, and we didn't give, or that sibling wasn't
That makes
doing as well
sense.
in life. But you need to know the
Yeah,
reasons
I feel like
why.
that needs to be explained.
Right? Don't
That
you think?
needs to be
Yeah.
Shouldn't you? It's also your family, shouldn't you know? Because I think the rule should be simple. If you're sharing things equally amongst all of your children and your family, please tell everybody while you're alive. But if you know that there's a son or a daughter who you know the relationship wasn't good, or they're always, it wasn't great, let them find out when you're long dead and gone. You don't want want to be there for the squabble because then it's going to be a back and forth about how come I didn't get this? How come? And you know how families get around money, right? And around death.
But isn't that going to ruin the relationship
That's what
between
I'm
the
saying.
siblings?
Like if you did it beforehand, you're at least saving something. You're front loading it, right?
You're taking on a bit of that burden yourself because you're going to have to deal with it.
The most awkward Christmas dinner ever.
You know what? My husband and I are super nerds about this kind of stuff. We're very organized. Actually, before every big trip, we have a sealed envelope with our will, with our power of attorney, with all of our passwords, all our financial information.
Wow.
We seal it. We give one copy to my parents, one copy to my husband's parents in case anything were to happen to us.
You are the most amazing adult I've ever met in my life.
No, it's a smart thing to do.
For a long time, I was like, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about death. I don't want to hear about anything. But now, as I'm growing up and I know what I want, especially having kids, I'm like, this is what I want for them, and I want to make sure that they're taken care of. And so we always, and now my parents are doing it.
No, that's incredible. So they mirrored your behavior.
They did, and they were always okay talking about it, but actually doing the work on that.
That's
and
amazing.
I think it's going to
And
help.
so they've been clear. I want to take it away from me.
No, you don't.
They've been clear to you, like what their will is.
They've been talking about it. They've been talking about even their funeral. My mom has her whole funeral plan done.
Yeah,
She's like,
same thing. My mom, same thing. I have an envelope with all of the information, step by step, when she is pronounced dead, that all the things to do. And I think it's only right. I had a girlfriend who died 2 years ago, and she did not have a will, and she has a child. And at her funeral, one of her best friends is like, listen, if you take nothing away from this, get a will, because it's very challenging for your family to go through your life and figure out where things are and what bank accounts you have. So you do it for them, really, not even so much for yourself.
Jess
I totally agree, and
I feel like you're diverting.
yeah, you
avoiding
really
right
don't
now.
want to talk about this.
I feel like I've been saying I should have a will and that I'm going to do it tomorrow for about 10 years. So I will do it tomorrow. But my mom is similar. She's got the package. And she's told me where the package is. My brother and I are both co-executors of the will. We'll be split 50-50. But she's more concerned about her stuff. She's got particular tastes. She's got some nice teacups and some Royal Dalton ladies that she loves. And she's very worried about my brother and his wife, my sister-in-law, who are minimalists. Like, they have nothing and they try to help my mom. My mom's not a hoarder, but she likes stuff. If you need paper towels at any given time, she'll have about 6 cases in one closet.
Okay.
Baby wipes, she's got you covered. But so for her Royal Daltons and her teacups, she's worried that my brother will sort of maybe get rid of them. But some of them have a little bit of value.
Okay.
And Simon used to work at an antique shop. So she has made sure in private conversations, almost like with me not being included, like Simon, when I go, make sure you get top dollar for yourself, for the teacups, for the Royal Dalton ladies.
She's taking such good
She
care of
will
you.
only
really cares.
entrust Simon to sell this stuff, which I think is really good. Mom, don't worry, we will keep all the Royal Dalton ladies and build you a mausoleum.
No, it's a tough thing to talk about. I totally get it. But I think if you talk about it now rather than later,
Yes.
I think it solves so many problems.
Okay,
It just
yeah.
makes
Let's all do it.
sense.
Let's all make sure we do it.
Okay.
Heard.
Okay, Will, are you gonna do your will?
I am.
Okay, I'm gonna follow up on that.
Okay.
All right, BuzzFeed has a list of things that are wholesome but toxic. So for example, when a grocery chain asks you to donate to charity, they actually get a tax deduction, right? But they're making you feel good, like, do you wanna donate?
Yeah.
Anyway, do you have something that's wholesome but that people think is wholesome but that you think is actually toxic?
Oh my God. I've been seeing this more and more lately where someone will tweet, they'll announce that they're boycotting something or not attending an event because of certain politics, and they will do it on Twitter, which I find to be ironic. X, I know,
Yeah.
I'm being a jerk because of bad word. But, you know, Twitter, which I'm still gonna call it, call it whatever I want, boycotting it. It's like run by a toxic human being. And
True.
for you announcing that you're not doing something, you just put money in his pocket.
Yeah.
So it's
Right.
like it's self-righteousness.
The people who are
Yeah.
the people who are on the app, letting you know on the app that they're leaving the app. It's like, just leave the app. Nobody cares.
Exactly.
Nobody's
Sorry to
paying
break it to you.
attention.
Nobody cares. For me, it's when, everybody's like, I was just talking about fitness and, trying to lose weight and eating well. It's whenever a man is just started a diet and he's like, yeah, I lost 10 pounds in the first 2 weeks. I just stopped drinking soda. I want to murder him. It's like, I know it's good for your health, but I'm like, those of us who are running like idiots on some treadmill and lifting weights, we don't want to hear about your 10 pounds because you just cut out soda. It's so true. Right? It's so frustrating. frustrating. That for me is like, it's enraging.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I thought some of these takes were good. Like, I think some of them were like, forcing kids to hug their aunt, from like forcing kids to do things that they don't feel comfortable with. I think we should trust kids more when it comes to that. But some of the hot takes were just stupid, in my opinion. Like, one of them was about how self-care is a load of crap. And I'm like, or that it's forcing people to buy stuff. And I was like, I don't know. Oh, you agree?
I don't think self-care is bad, but sometimes the way self-care is positioned on social media platforms,
the way it's
like
marketed.
take care of yourself.
There's
with
pressure
these
to
sick
do it.
supplements and shakes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Remember when your kid was little and people would say sleep when the baby sleeps?
Yes.
It was just like, I can't sleep. I have to do dishes. I have to like.
I love that piece of advice.
It was such yes.
I followed that advice, but you know what we're pointing out
Oh
here?
my God, that
is
irks me, that
some
advice.
pieces of advice work for some people.
True. That's a good point. That's a good point.
The charity thing, okay, some of you guys maybe passed through Union Station. I know the country's watching. Union Station is in Toronto, probably the busiest intersection in the city. Has anyone ever stopped you from a charity and solicited you for donations?
Yeah.
Yes.
It is enraging to me because they try to lure you in with a question like,
Hey.
hey, just a second. What's the most important thing in life? And I'm like, are you kidding me? How much time do you have? Let me just get my credit card out at the busiest intersection in the country and sign
I'm not late for work.
No.
Yeah.
It's so true.
It makes
No,
me
it
so
irritates,
angry.
yeah.
And they're trying to do something good,
Yes.
but I find it toxic.
Okay, so what would you prefer that they do? How should they approach you? You just want them
That's the other thing. How do you guys feel about the cash? You go to the cash register at the grocery store, a liquor store. Do you want to
Add a
donate?
dollar.
And it's like,
Add
do
a
you
dollar. Do you like
feel
that?
like a jerk
No.
when you say no?
Yeah, you feel
I
like a jerk.
I feel like a jerk.
I hit that no without bam. No.
I always.
Keep it moving. Give me my receipt.
I know that they don't. Like, I know that sometimes it's for the tax thing, but I always give because I feel pressure.
You feel
I feel
you put
people
yourself
behind
at the
me.
kiosk,
No, but I
Laura.
feel like you know what?
Who
it's
knows? No,
I
I
don't know.
don't.
The grocery lady?
You know what? Let's
Don't
go
tell
shopping.
religion. Don't ignore
No.
it. Don't do it. Let people come to
you'll
their
get no
own
from me.
faith.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I will hit that with the
I don't know what we've learned.
No donation. No donation.
I feel like maybe we just revealed that all of us don't want to give money. Is that what we just revealed here? I don't know.
We don't give money.
The right time in the right place.
So it's American Thanksgiving this week, and someone wrote to the Skim to ask, I'm hosting and I'm worried about certain family members causing drama. So is it okay to make specific topics off limits? Yes. What do we? Yes. Some
Really?
agreement here. What do we?
Okay, no.
Laura, what do you think?
Honestly, thank you for validating me. I think no. I think this is thanks. I think this is really the key to compromise and civility. The world is such a fragmented place right now. We are so divided. Extreme views are amplified and celebrated, and this is a way to have proper discourse, like in an environment, because you're not gonna listen to the other side at a protest, right?
No.
Right? But at dinner with people that you actually respect
And hopefully love,
and hopefully love, you will listen to the other side. And I think people are scared, but I think there's a way, again, to front load that and have conversations
I
in
love
advance.
what you're saying, but do you set sort of ground rules for that? Like, do you, to make sure that everyone does
Get a voice?
you have that discourse in a proper way where all sides are sort of heard?
I think so. I think you can have, you know how instead of sending an email to say, we're not going to talk about religion or this or this or this or
'Cause that's
whatever.
not gonna work.
No. We say, yeah, because it's not going to work. I would think you could send an email to say, some topics are going to be very controversial at our dinner or whatever. But if you're gonna make a suggestion, maybe do some research before, and maybe
Would you send them a reading list?
No.
I would. Okay, fine. Maybe is that too far? Okay, let me make another suggestion.
Okay.
What if you say instead, you say, it's okay to change your mind. And also, it's okay, like you don't know everything about a subject. So please come to this dinner as a don't know it all. And really be cognizant of your own intellectual, your humility.
Well, then I would never be invited
humble.
for dinner.
I love what you're saying, and I
she
think that
makes an
there's some
excellent
great points there. And it makes me think, when I was learning about public speaking, I went to Toastmasters. I don't know if anyone knows about what that is. You learn how to do public speaking, and you get some certain, ground rules. And one of the things that they bring on is like a squeeze toy. And so when somebody, in this case, when somebody's doing filler words or whatever, you squeeze it to kind of make them like jump into the moment. I think in a case like this at a dinner party, it might be a great idea when your Uncle Joe starts being like too racist or something like that, just too far, you can just squeeze a toy, right? Just like, and that's like the immediate cue of just like shut up, and like you got to listen to someone else.
It's
now.
almost like a safe word.
Like a safe word.
Yeah,
or like a
like
ding,
a-
like a bell.
Yeah.
Right? You need a bell so that everyone can be like,
Wait.
this idea.
Yeah, look.
Oh, that's not bad. A jingle bell.
Wait a second. That sounds like a good idea, but y'all know your family's messy. The whole time, like,
Hear me out. I kind of enjoy the mess of a holiday dinner. I don't mind it. Things do get. Simon is a middle child, so he's got an older brother and 2 younger brothers. And I think with his family, if his parents had said, "So we're not going to be talking about X, Y, or Z," Simon would be like, "Oh, really? We're not going to talk about it."
And he would stir the
Watch
pot.
this, yeah. And he would do it like there's a. I don't have it in my family, but going to his big family gatherings, there's a joy in the messiness. And it doesn't ever get mean or hurtful. And there are disagreements and great discussions. And I think the key is they always find a way to end it with a touch of humor. And there is something very sweet about that, like the idea that you can disagree, and then you have these great stories after too about the messy dinners.
Yeah,
You know what?
I like it.
I grew up in a very any Caribbean household, you know, like we start loud. Even when we're in a good mood, we're already yelling. And I had a tradition of like we spent every breakfast on Saturday morning and dinner on Sundays. And in that, not only did we break bread, but we learned to have conversations where we didn't necessarily agree with each other, but we always knew that love was at the table.
is
So it was
it.
okay to disagree and know that you're still gonna be good. And I learned that. So it's like when you have a situation where a person feels like because you don't agree with me, well, now we hate each other. That's the problem. And I think you know your family. And I'll say, you know what, just because someone has dropped that ball to like, to put it on the table to have a fight, doesn't mean you have to pick it up. Right? That family member who you know likes to instigate, you can let their comment just sit there and go, I'm not touching that. Or go outside and go for a walk and be like, they're trying to be messy. You don't always have to engage in the
bring it
fight.
up. I love
Right?
it.
Because if
even
you don't
if
fight
it's-
back, what are they gonna do?
Listen, even if it is a fight, these conversations will feel frustrating, right?
Yeah.
But you're being influenced, which means you are also influencing.
Right.
So at the end of the day, we're all learning, right? So it might feel frustrating for now, but I think
Try
eventually
to have
it's
the
a
hard
good-
conversations with the people you love. It's good
Let's
training
heal the
ground.
world, people.
Let's heal the world.
Subscribe to the Social Podcast so you don't miss a fiery debate. Until next time, socialites.